everybody, welcome back to the farm. We're here popping Demasoni today. This is one of our big breeder tanks. These vaults that we're in today are 8 foot by 16 foot, which are scattered around the farm. They're considered a grow-out tank, but also for certain species of fish we use them for breeder tanks. I'm here today with Tony. Tony's been with Florida Exotic for how long, Tony?
40 years.
For 40 years. Now, if that's not a love of labor, I don't know what is. Tony's responsible for the breeding of most of our, I don't know, what would you call it? You have a certain set of species that you are responsible for, which includes the Demasoni, the Gold Labs,
Tanganekins, the Erets, the Eretmotus, the Frontosas, 7-stripe, 6-stripe, the Impindleys, Rick's assorted special hops.
and let's not forget about the multipunctatus, the cuckoo cats. Tony's got, what do you have over there? Nine different vaults?
13
vaults of the multipunctatus. What we're doing here is, when you hear the term, popping fish or collecting babies, what we do is we basically just use a single hand and we'll open up the mouth of the fish. You can see here, this one's full of eggs, not quite developed. We will take them if they have what's called heads and tails. If they can freely move, then we'll go ahead and pop them, take them. And then they go into the warehouse, into a tank on their own. They're fed a very high protein diet. It's called Extreme Nano, which was actually created here on the farm, Florida Exotic. They'll stay in the warehouse, what, about 2 months, Tony?
Yeah.
About 2 months, and then they'll be brought out. Sometimes they go back into a very large vault like this one. Sometimes they go into as you've seen in previous videos, burial vault, which is just what it sounds like. It's a vault that goes in the ground that a casket would go into at a cemetery. They make excellent fish housing, shelter. And so we use, there's probably close to 200 of them here that we have at the farm. So we'll go through this entire tank. As you saw in some of the other footage, we came through, we drug the seine through, and then we drug it through a couple more times just to make sure. The idea is to pull every single fish out of the tank, just to ensure that no mama fish is going to throw babies and then kind of upset the ecosystem within the tank itself. So we do this, we try to do this every 2 weeks during this time of year. If we're lucky today, we should get anywhere between 200 and 500, sometimes more, babies. We'll do this continually throughout the summer until the seasons change, and with the seasons change, the weather gets a little bit cooler outside, the daylight hours get a little bit shorter, and the fish are not breeding as much.
The season is from March till November.
Yeah, March until November. When we grab a fish, we're basically looking underneath their lip, and this area here behind the gills will be full of either eggs or babies. So we can kind of very quickly at a glance take a look at the fish and see whether or not it's holding. This is a very tight gill area, so obviously there's no babies in that. I'll pull up another one here. You can see how this is somewhat protruding. So if we open this, what we call pop, again, you'll be able to see inside there. You see the eggs. They're not quite developed enough to where we want to take them. So this one goes back in the tank. See if I can grab one here that's going to show. And that one has, it's again very difficult to see, but that's what we call heads and tails. So it's the eggs, but there's a little protrusion of a head and a tail. And then we'll take that out. And those go in a small incubator because they're not fully free swimming. We keep them in there for 3 or 4 weeks until they're able to swim. And then they'll go into a regular glass tank for a couple of months, and then they'll head outside. But today is, we shipped yesterday, we shipped last night. And so today, again, as it's a full-time working farm, today we pop fish. And it starts all over again next week. Typically, a week for us is Monday. We clean up, get the farm ready. We drain tanks with siphon hoses, and we do that in preparation for catching fish for our orders, for our stores, on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then we begin shipping usually Wednesday during the day, Wednesday night, Thursday night possibly, sometimes on Friday, and then Friday afternoon, then we're out here popping fish again. And then it starts all over. And Tony's giving me a dirty look because sometimes I put the wrong size fish in the wrong bucket. So we have 3 buckets here. One is for full swimmers. One is for swimmers with kind of they still have a little bit of egg yolk on them. And then this bucket back here is for what we call heads and tails. And they're not developed enough to keep themselves mobile. And then the incubator will keep the water flowing in order to keep them mobile. Because if they sit, they'll kind of, I'll use the term melt. They'll melt to the bottom of the glass incubator just because they have to be kept in constant motion. One of the next episodes you guys will see, we'll do the same, but it'll be with gold Labida chromis. So gold lab, yellow lab, common name, yellow lab, gold lab. And it's just the same thing. We'll go through and pop the 3 different sizes. Take those in the warehouse, grow them out a little bit until we can bring them outside. So they get sunshine and fresh algae and lots of food out in the natural elements. The sun obviously helps with their color, gets them nice and bright. A constant supply of food here in the large vats here on the farm.
Constant supply of water.
Constant supply of water. Constant supply of fresh, clean water. That's just easy. And as we get towards the end, there's less and less that are holding because when we're reaching in and grabbing them, we're grabbing the ones that we can see from the top, just because we've been doing it for so long, which ones are holding eggs or babies. And so as we get down towards the bottom, there's just less and less fish. You can see in here we have some small fish that for one reason or another we've skipped, or maybe when we popped the fish earlier, maybe one or two were left in the mama's mouth. And that's it. Let's take a look. We've got the 3 different buckets here. This is what we call heads and tails, which are, you can see they are moving around, but some of them are a little bit smaller.
Babies.
And so the idea is that we have to keep the water flowing. This size here, a little bit bigger.
Medium.
Some of them have the egg yolk on them, but they are freely moving. And then we have this lot over here that are free swimming. So there you go. Thanks for hanging out with us here at Florida Exotic Fish Sales here in South Florida. Be sure to like, subscribe,
and check out our other videos.